Hi everybody, I'm Sam and this is my sister's diary. Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of my sister's diary. I'm your host Sam, and today I have a fun episode planned for us. I asked you guys to submit on Instagram. I asked you on Instagram to submit your biggest coincidences that have ever happened to you. So kind of like I said on Instagram, I was like a glitch in the matrix, which is they can be the same thing, but also a little bit different. So like something crazy. I don't know. Maybe I should look up the definition of coincidence. I'm going to do that right now because maybe glitch in the matrix isn't the right word. How do you spell coincidence? Coincidence. Okay. Got it. A coincidence is when two or more events happen at the same time, especially when it seems unlikely or unexpected. Okay. So yeah. I guess that could kind of be a glitch in the matrix just because it's like so unexpected. And yeah, that's what we're doing. But first, I have a list of things I want to talk about. As always, if you guys like absolutely hate hearing me talk about these things, please let me know because I always do it at the beginning of the episode. And if you're like, Sam, please just stop talking about yourself, move on, and just get to the meat of the episode, tell me. I do try to keep it short. But I also think it's fun. Like you listen to podcasts to kind of hear what the host has to say, right? So you don't just, I don't know. So I think it's fun to do a little bit of both. So if you're new here, sometimes I call this like my diary dump or like reading my diary. So that's what we're doing. We're talking about me first. I don't have anyone to talk to. So I made a podcast so I could talk to the internet, and that's what I'm doing. Okay. So first thing is I had someone ask me how my half marathon running is coming, and to that I want to tell you guys it is coming slow. So if you missed the episode, or if you missed the part where I talked about a while ago, I don't remember which episode it was, but I signed up for a half marathon this year in July. I signed up, I think in January I signed up. And this is the third half marathon I've signed up for. Have I ever ran a half marathon? No. So I've wasted now probably like $300 signing up for half marathons that I've never ran. So this year I'm doing it. Even if I have to walk it, I'm doing it. Okay. I don't know if there's like to those people who have ran a half marathon, maybe you don't even know this answer because you probably actually ran it. But is there like a minimum time you have to do? Does that make sense? Like, can you walk? I'm pretty sure I know someone who told me that their mom always walks half marathons. So I should probably look into that to make sure that like I don't get picked up by some bus or whatever and they find me. That would be so rude if you sign up for a half marathon and like you aren't fast enough, so they pick you up and they're like, you owe us $100. That would be rude. Okay. Anyway, back to the training for it. So I haven't formally like ran since I had my second baby. I've probably gone on like a run here and there, but I probably haven't ran more than a mile in, let's see, she's almost 5. So almost 5 years have I not ran. And even for like after she was born, I ran for a couple of months probably. And then I stopped because it got to be winter and I hate running on the treadmill. And then I just never picked it up again. So I don't know. I had like a couple months, but before that, when I was pregnant, I didn't run with her at all. And then before that, I was running quite a bit before she was born. So really, it's almost been like 6 years, almost 6 years since I've ran more than like, I don't know, 3 or 4 miles at a time. So that's a long time. I was telling you guys a while ago that ever since the pandemic, I feel like time has been like warped and weird and it doesn't really feel like that long. Yeah. So when I look back on these things, I'm like, oh my gosh, it really has been that long. So that kind of actually gives me a little bit of peace because I have been struggling so hard with trying to like build up endurance for running. And I just need to be patient with myself. But at the same time, like I got a timeline here. I have to be able to run 13 miles by July. Okay, my heater just kicked on, so I'm going to go turn it off, but I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Not that was a pause for you guys at all, but back to what I was saying with the half marathon training. I actually don't remember where I was at exactly, but what I'm going to talk about now is part of like my problem with the training is I am nursing right now. So those babies are a little bit bigger than they used to be, if you know what I mean. And I can't find a bra to save my life. I can't find a sports bra that holds up these puppies. It's either like they are extremely squished and I have to literally wrestle myself out of the sports bra, and that's horrible. And I have to wear 2 bras when I do that. Or it's like I don't know, it's like they have support around, but not like up. I don't know how to explain it. I literally don't know how to explain it. But basically what's happening is my cleavage is touching my double chin as I run. They're like bouncing into each other. And that's not what I'm going for. Obviously, it's very distracting. And yeah, if anyone has a sports bra that they recommend, I got one from Amazon that like zips up the front, but that's the one where like my tatas like bounce up out of it. And so like I need something that like pushes them down and up and in at the same time. So basically like duct tape, but not duct tape, a bra. Anyway, so if you have any recommendations for that, please message me on Instagram or text me if you have my number and tell me what you do. The other thing is I need new shoes because the shoes that I have are meant for like lifting weights and doing like stagnant exercises. Well, not stagnant, like standing, not really moving, not cardio. Okay. And so it's bad because I don't have like great arch support in those shoes. And so I feel like I'm running with like my knees touching together. And yeah, it's starting to hurt my hips and my feet pretty bad. So I need some new shoes. It costs a lot of money, okay? It costs a lot of money to start exercising, and I forgot about that. So I just need to buck up and buy some good exercise clothes because I think that'll help. And also when you because right now I'm wearing a lot of clothes from before I was pregnant and they don't fit very well. And so I just feel ugly, and like nobody likes wearing clothes that don't fit. Nobody likes that, okay? Especially clothes that are too tight. It's just not comfortable. And so it's harder to like want to work out because I'm like, oh, I have to go put on the clothes that are 2 sizes too small. So I just need to go buy like a couple pairs of things that fit, and I think I'll be way more motivated to run once I do that. But anyway, there's the update that literally only one person asked for, but I figured if one person asked, then maybe there was someone else that wondered. Okay, next thing is my baby boy, my last baby, just got his first tooth. And I might cry right now talking about it. I don't know what, you guys know, I've just been having such a hard time like with this last baby and all of these things that are like his first, which are like the last for me. And it's just really got me down in the dumps, but I'm not like sad. I am sad, but it's also like really fun. Like I was excited when he got his first. I was like, yay, that's so fun. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, it's so sad because you're old enough to have a first tooth, you know? And he used to wear a corrective helmet for his head because he had a flat head. I get very defensive about this because he's my second baby who's had a helmet. And I've had people comment, I mean, you wouldn't think that this actually happens, but it does. But I've had people comment and be like, they don't say it to me directly. They're not like, oh, you must not hold your baby. But they'll say stuff like, yeah, I had a friend who never held her baby and they had a helmet too. And I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean? Your friend probably was doing the best she could. And it's not that she never held her baby. Actually, I don't know. I don't know that for sure. Maybe there's people out there genuinely who just like put their babies in bouncers or swings and they're busy people and their babies are in those things all the time and it makes it hard for them to move their head side to side until their babies get flat heads. That could absolutely be true. But also there is such a big, sorry, this is not a soapbox I was planning on standing on today, but I'm doing it anyway. Just from talking to like lots of different moms who have helmet babies and doctors and the people who make the helmet themselves, there's been such like an uptick of babies wearing helmets and everyone's like, it's because nobody holds their babies anymore. Everyone's on social media. Like I said, it could be that, but it's probably more likely that so many more people are putting their babies back to sleep. Like it's like drilled into our brains when we have babies that babies should always go to sleep on their back. And a lot of times, I mean, if they sleep, they're sleeping, babies sleep for so long, okay? They sleep for so long, so many hours of the day. They're on their back, on their head, And of course, their heads are very malleable, so they're going to change shape based on how they're laying a lot. So anyway, that's what happened with my second baby. My first baby, who was in a helmet, she had torticollis, and that just kind of, it's like a tight neck muscle on one side, and so her head was always turned that way. Anyway, aside from that, he got his helmet off, and he looks so grown up. Like his hair's gotten so long since he had his helmet, and he just looks so grown up, and it makes me so sad. But also, he's so freaking cute. I literally want to eat him. Like, I don't know how to explain. Okay, people with babies, like chunky babies, or actually no, not even chunky babies, because my second baby wasn't really a chunky baby, and I still wanted to eat her. It's just, they're so freaking cute that I can't help myself. Like, I just want to squeeze them. Not hard, obviously, and I'm not actually going to eat them. But yeah, they're just so delicious, and I just love him. Okay, next thing is daylight savings. Daylight savings freaking sucks, and I'm so over it. I've said this for years. I actually wrote an essay about this in college one time, and I got 100%, so it must have been accurate. Actually, I don't know, but yeah, so daylight savings sucks, and we need to stop doing it because it doesn't save daylight, it just moves it. And it used to be for more like farmers, because I don't know how to explain it. I could get you my essay and read it, or send you a copy of it so you can read it. But basically, it just makes things hard, okay? And it's just annoying. So my petition is that we stop doing that. That'd be great. But it just sucks for moms and for teachers and for people in general. Like, I can't think of anybody that is like, I freaking love daylight savings. It's the best thing in the world. The only good part about it is in the spring, like it starts being lighter outside later. But like, if we didn't do daylight savings, that wouldn't happen. We wouldn't have to go from it getting dark at 5 p.m. to finally getting dark at like 6:30. We wouldn't have that because it would just do that naturally. Like, we wouldn't have to change our clocks. Anyway, I could be wrong about that, but I don't think I am. Okay, last one. This one's very short and sweet. Not sweet. It's actually not sweet at all. It's me absolutely complaining. But I keep getting these videos on my TikTok feed of ASMR. And don't get me wrong, when ASMR was like first a thing, like when they were cutting the soap, whatever, I liked that. I was like, wow, this sound is amazing. But now it's like people talking, but it's not ASMR. It's not ASMR at all. People think if I whisper and I make a lot of noise with my lips, that's ASMR. So they're like, hello, everybody. This is going to be me talking. That's what it sounds like. It's so disgusting. I hate it so much. And it keeps popping up on my TikTok, and it's like attacking me, and it makes me so angry. It literally gives me a physical reaction when I hear that. I'm like, oh, it's like nails on a chalkboard for me. I hate it. It's so bad. And I don't think a lot of people like it. I don't think people like that kind of ASMR. So we need to stop doing it collectively as Americans. Actually, as people, as human beings, we need to agree that we need to stop that right now. Okay, enough of my complaining and talking about myself. Actually, no, not talking about myself, because I'm going to continue talking about myself, talking about biggest coincidences that have ever happened in my life personally. So the first one that comes to my mind is, and I think I've talked about this, maybe, I don't remember how much detail I went into, but anyway, I'm going to tell you all about it again. So my best friend and I, when I was a kid, we lived in the place that I live now. And we lived here for my life. We lived here until I was 5. And my best friend at the time, we lived like down the street from each other. And so like I would go to her house all the time. She'd come to my house all the time, whatever. And then after my family moved, we moved like 4 hours away. And I would come up like during the summer for a couple summers. And she came down to my house one year. And then like junior high school, we kind of stopped doing that. We just got busy during summer, and we kind of lost touch. And like we were still friends on Facebook, whatever, but we didn't like talk or email or do anything like that. And then I came up to the place we are now for college, and I like reached out to her once or twice, I think, and was like, or maybe she reached out to me, I can't remember, but basically just been like, hey, we're in the same place, we should get together. But when people say that, like sometimes they don't actually do it. That's what we did. We're like, we should get together and go to lunch. But we never did. Anyway, so then we ended up being pregnant at the same time. And our babies, I don't remember when her baby's due date was. I think it was a couple weeks after mine. Anyway, we ended up having our babies 1 day apart. 1 day apart in the same exact hospital. And both of our babies got the same, they both got choreo, which is like an infection of the amniotic fluid. And then babies can get it, obviously, because they're completely covered by amniotic fluid. And so they both got choreo and they were in the NICU right next to each other. So I remember walking out of like the delivery room on my way to the recovery, not walking, obviously, I was being wheelchaired. And like her whole entire family was there. And I was like, this is absolutely nuts. I haven't seen these people in like 13 years. It had been a long time. And so that was crazy. And they're like, oh yeah, she's here too. She's having a baby. And I was like, this is absolutely nuts. Like, what are the chances? And yeah, because it's not the only hospital there. Also, her due date wasn't the same as mine. So it's like, what are the chances that her specifically ended up at the hospital that I was at when there's more than one hospital here? And our babies ended up getting the same thing, which is pretty rare to get. It's not like super rare for moms to get choreo. I mean, it's rare, but it's not like totally random weird. But it is rare for babies to get choreo. It's like my doctor told me that 99% of the time babies don't get it. And it's like 1% of the time they do get it. And they just need antibiotics pretty much. Most of the time it's a great outcome and babies are fine. But yeah, we both ended up in the NICU. We were right next to each other. It was totally crazy. And then we kind of hung out a couple of times after that, but we weren't regularly hanging out. And then I knew she was pregnant again and I was pregnant. We were pregnant again at the same time, but her baby was due before mine. And that was during the pandemic. So we really didn't see each other. I knew she had her baby. I didn't know what she named her baby. And then I had my second baby. And I don't really want to like out what her baby is named, but basically it's like, there's like a girl version of a name and a boy version of a name of the same name. That's what ended up happening. Like my baby was the girl version of the name and her baby was the boy version of the name. And they were so similar. So it was crazy. She reached out to me and was like, hey, we should, like get together and do some play dates or something. And we were just talking about our babies. And I was like, what's your baby's name? And she told me, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so freaking weird because this is my baby's name. Anyway, it just felt like fate after that. And I was like, why? Like, I don't know. The universe was pushing us together literally since we were kids. So ever since then, we've hung out. We do like weekly play dates. Sometimes we're not very on top of doing them weekly, but we see each other a lot. And I don't know. That just felt crazy to me that all these things kept pushing us together. So anyway, I don't know if that's crazy. When I tell people that, they're like, oh yeah, that's cool. I'm like, you don't understand how crazy this is. Like it is such a big coincidence. But anyway, moving on from that one. The next one is when Robbie and I started dating. Robbie's my husband. Our phone numbers. I'm not going to tell you what our phone numbers are because they're still the same. But when we were like getting each other's numbers, I noticed that his number was the exact same as mine, except for 2 numbers were switched in different spots. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of crazy, kind of weird. But then it goes beyond that because like all of my family has like the same number, but like there's one number different, type thing. So then that's how his family was a little bit. I can't remember if all of his siblings had this thing or if it was just like him and his mom and his sister. I don't remember. But so my number was like twins with Robbie's number. And then my mom's number was twins with his mom's number. And I don't know, that just felt so like, what are the chances? There are so many variants of numbers, even like, area code and the first 3 numbers, whatever. They were all the exact same except for 2 were switched, and they were switching the exact same order for like my mom's number and his mom's number and my number and his number. Anyway, it was crazy. And that was also just like, I don't know. I don't like to like look for signs in the universe because I don't really believe in that. But at the same time, how could I not believe in that? Because so many things have happened where I'm like, this is meant to be. So, okay, next one is my son, his first crush. I didn't know this at the time, but we moved from like one small-ish part of town. It's like a like we're in the same area, but like it's a little town, to another little town in the same area. And we ended up being, Hudson goes to school with this little girl, and he was telling me about her, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think her mom is my roommate's sister. So when I was in college, my roommate, her older sister, had a little girl. And I remember when, like, I wasn't roommates with her still when she had her little girl, but I remember her like posting about it. Because they had the same birthday. Like, I think she messaged me and we're like, oh, my sister had a baby on the exact same day that you had a baby. And I was like, that's crazy. Well, we ended up we're like neighbors with them. So we're neighbors with my roommate's sister. We're like we're not next door neighbors, but we're neighbors. And then I guess, I don't know if she's listening, I guess I'm outing my son in that he had a crush on your daughter. I think you probably already knew that, but anyway, I'm not going to say names or anything like that, but they had the same exact birthday, and I don't know. That just seemed like, again, when I'm telling you this, you might not be like, that's not that weird, Sam, but it is. It's crazy how like things can start. This was like a 7-year process. Okay. So like I was roommates with this girl, and then I knew she had an older sister or whatever. And then I had a baby, and she's like, you had a baby on the same day. Anyway, I'm not going to go through the whole thing again, but you get it. Like, it's crazy how things can start. And it's like this huge, long process of it coming. I don't know. Anyway, that's crazy. All right. Next one this is again about birthdays. I know two people. One of them is my mom, but I won't name the other person for their own privacy. But sorry, Mom, I don't care about your privacy. Apparently. Not really, but I won't tell them what your birthday is. But I know two people who have had babies on their birthday. And like the more I talk to people, they're like, yeah, that's not that uncommon. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like how is that not that uncommon? Like, there are 365 days in a year. What are the chances that you have a baby on the exact same day that you were born? Like, it blows my mind. I think it's so crazy. And I know two people who are like pretty close to me who have had babies on their birthdays. And I think it's wild. So if you guys know anyone else too, you don't have to tell me, but I do think it's crazy that so many people have babies on their birthday. I don't know if I would like that, to be honest. Actually, no, I probably would, because then people might actually pay attention to my birthday. Okay. Anyway. Okay. Okay. This one's kind of also a universe thing, I think. But a year before I had my second baby, I just had this thought one day that was like, I was like, write this in your phone. And it was just the words, this is going to be hard. And that was it. And I just left it in my phone. And then a year later, I had my baby. Well, a year and whatever later, I had my baby. And I was like in the thick of postpartum depression. It was really bad. Definitely the darkest time of my entire life. And I was looking through my phone and I found that note. And guys, I have chills. I wrote that on the day she was born, a year before the day she was born. And I just felt like that was like the universe preparing me for what was to come. And I like I kind of forgot about it, but sometimes I remember. I'm like, this is going to be hard. I'm like, okay, well, what's coming? And I don't know. It's like subconsciously I was preparing for something else. I wasn't even pregnant at the time when I wrote that note. So that, I don't know, totally crazy to me. I ended up deleting that note. I don't know what is wrong with me, but I deleted it and I wish I still had it, but I don't. And I'm mad at myself for it. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, there's more to that story, but I don't know. It's more personal, so I won't share. But anyway, it's crazy. Like I said, how things start like years in advance and end up being like coming around to something that is just so crazy. So every episode I find a way to say without further ado. I'm going to stop that because that's not something I say in my normal life. I never say without further ado. So I'm stopping saying that. I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to say that anymore. Okay, let me pull up your guys' stories and let's dive on in. Some of these are crazy. Just be prepared. Okay, first one says, when I was a missionary, I got 1 day a week to email friends and family. My companion from Honduras and I were checking emails when I looked over and saw a wedding invitation from my ex-boyfriend. She just happened to have been companions previously with his bride's best friend. I had encouraged him to date if he wanted, and he had let me know that they were dating seriously. But for her to like basically receive an invitation and not me was like an arrow through the heart. I was already feeling really homesick and wanted to go home, so that added to it all. So there I was crying in an internet cafe in the middle of Mexico. This would be so heartbreaking. Like, you don't say that he told you he was getting married, so I kind of assume that he didn't tell you that. He was just like seriously dating her. And so part of you was probably like, okay, but when I get home, he's going to break up with her, obviously. So looking over and seeing a wedding invitation for him, I can just feel it for you. Like the sinking feeling of like, oh my gosh, that is like, he's gone forever for me. Like, I'm not going to marry him. He's marrying somebody else. That would be so devastating. And also the coincidence part of this, of her just happening to get a wedding invitation. I realize like in the Mormon space that there are a lot of things that end up being like small world, because it is kind of small world when you look at just like people who are LDS. So in that sense, I'm like, okay, maybe it's not that big of a coincidence, but at the same time, it is. It's a huge coincidence that this happened. But back to like the Mormon space, LDS space, whatever, being a small world, I had a few people, they didn't write in, they like messaged me. I had two, I say a few, but I had two people who were like, they were dating somebody and they went to a family reunion, like an extended family reunion, and they saw their person that they were dating, and like they weren't like blood related, but they were still at the same reunion, and they're like, this was too freaking weird. I had to break it off with them. And I've had people tell me that kind of stuff before. I was like, we were dating, we found out we were sixth cousins, and it was fine, so we just got married or whatever. I'm like, that would feel, I don't know, sixth cousins, probably fine. You're probably far off. But the fact that that's probably not very common outside of like LDS culture, you know, like maybe it is, maybe it's not. But anyway, that's crazy. Okay, next one. My favorite / lucky number is 17. I decided I liked that number because I had a 17 magazine that Harry Styles was on the cover of. Valid. Okay, here is the list of things I've compiled of 17 coincidences, like of the number 17. There are exactly 17 letters in my full name. I graduated high school in 2017. My soccer jersey was number 17. My birth year is 98, which 9 plus 8 adds up to 17. The last 4 digits of my home phone number was 0737. That adds up to 17. The last 4 digits of another number added up to 17. And their bank account number also ends in 17. That's a lot of 17s. And the fact that you even notice it too is kind of crazy, because I probably wouldn't notice that. Maybe I'm just dumb. But yeah, I wish I had a favorite number. I used to have a favorite number, and then it just kept changing because every time I would play a sport, like that number wasn't available as a jersey. So I'm like, I'm choosing a new favorite number. And yeah, so that's cool. I love it when people have favorite numbers. You choosing it because Harry Styles was on the cover of 17 magazine is the icing on the cake for me. That's amazing. That's an excellent reason to choose a favorite number. And yeah, that's basically all I have to say about that. Okay, next one says, hold on. Okay. My husband and I went to Mexico in 2017 to visit his mission area. When we were there, we saw my parents' neighbor. They've been neighbors since I was a kid, so I knew them pretty well. We had no idea the other would be visiting the area, and it wasn't a super touristy spot, so it was kind of already weird that we ran into each other in the first place. But that's not the craziest part. A year later, we were in South Carolina for my husband's work, and we were at an IHOP, and I thought I heard the guy's voice, so I turned around, and there he was. I don't remember why they were there, but it was the weirdest thing ever. Okay, just the IHOP story alone in this part would be crazy. Like, if you're at an IHOP in a state, like, actually, I don't know for sure that you lived in Utah, but if you did live in Utah and you're at an IHOP on the other side of the country and someone you know walks into the IHOP, that would be crazy. But the fact that you also saw those exact same people in Mexico on a trip a year earlier, I don't know. Like, how does this stuff happen? Truly, how does this stuff happen? I don't understand how these coincidences, oh my gosh, I am stupid. These coincidences happen. They're just so Crazy. Okay, this one is kind of sad, but one time my sister and I were talking about a person we went to high school with. She wasn't either of our friend, but for some random reason, okay, hold on. She wasn't either of our friend, but something random happened, and for whatever reason, it made us both think of this girl. We had literally never talked about her together, and I personally hadn't thought about her in years. Well, the sad part was that the very next day, I see on Facebook that she had passed away the night before. Kind of spooky, actually. Oh my gosh, this gave me chills. That is spooky. Like maybe she was like haunting you guys, and I don't know, maybe not, but that is crazy that happened. Like I said, I just don't understand. It like blows my mind, and maybe people aren't as interested in this as I am, but seriously, when people tell me these kind of stories, I'm like, that is freaking crazy. Like it's so crazy that happens, and I don't know, there's something in the air that made you think of her. I don't know. Okay, next one says, not me, but I know someone who was switching house insurances, and there was going to be one day where they didn't have coverage and their house burned down that day. That is so sad. Like, what are the chances? This is why I try not to be superstitious, but sometimes like something will happen and I'm like, well, what if this happens? You know, something like this. Like if I were to be switching insurances, I'm like, what if our house burns down on this day? And everyone would tell me. Like I'm sure people would be like, that's not going to happen. Like that is so crazy. That's literally not going to happen. And most of the time it probably wouldn't, but apparently it does happen sometimes because it happened to this person. And for that, I am so sorry. That is traumatizing. And I hope you were able to work something out. I hope the homeowner's insurance was like, you know what, this sucks, and let's cut you a deal or something like that, because that just seems unfair to be honest. Okay, next one says, this is the last one. One time I was home alone and belting out a song, as one does. It was Poker Face by Lady Gaga. I went to get in the shower and we had a little waterproof radio in there. No joke, when I turned it on, it started playing Poker Face by Lady Gaga in the exact same spot I was singing. This would freak me out so bad. I'd probably scream. Like, what are the chances? Like, you weren't, I don't know, maybe you heard a radio playing this song and that's why you were singing it. I don't know, because the song's not that long. So what are the chances you had another radio in your home that was on that you didn't notice? Probably not very high. I don't know. This is crazy. And like I said, I'd probably scream, and I'd probably call everybody I know and be like, listen to this crazy thing that happened to me. And people would probably think I'm lying. And I fully believe you. I fully believe you that this happened, because this would be a stupid thing to make up, right? Like, why would you make this up? So yeah, that's spooky. I'm realizing as I'm reading all these are all kind of spooky. Like, how does this happen? I just don't understand it. And I hope some of these stories made you guys think of some crazy things that have happened to you. If you think of them and you want to share, you can absolutely still DM them to me, or I don't know. I guess you could DM them to me, or just like save in your back pocket for the next time I do this. But if you have any thoughts or feelings, whatever, always feel free to message me on Instagram. I would love to talk about things that we talk about on the podcast, and I love hearing from you guys. Like, whenever you message me, it like fills my heart with joy, and I like kick my feet like a little girl. Thank you guys for tuning in today. I appreciate every single one of your listens and downloads. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do that. It will notify, actually it won't send you a notification, but it'll pop up like in your feed or whatever, the episode, so you don't miss it. And yeah, make sure if you haven't already to subscribe, like I said, rate and review this podcast. It helps me out so much, and I really, really, really appreciate it when you guys do that. So hope you guys have a fantastic week, and I will see you next week. Bye.